let's talk about the update in the firmware of the PlayStation VR2 that points to wired PC VR support. This is like some good news, but it depends on how you look at it, because people are kind of painting a narrative with it, as you'll see in the article as we go through it. And maybe we'll go through some comments again, because that was kind of interesting. We kind of did it in one of the topics, but anyway, let's get into the story here. Sony announced last month that it was bringing PC VR support to PlayStation VR2 sometime this year. Now, all signs now point to a direct wired connection holding few implications for Sony's VR strategy, holding a few implications even. According to the latest PlayStation PlayStation 5 firmware update, PSVR2 now works without needing extended display identification data, EDID. I had something like that on one of my setup things as like a scaler or something like that, and DisplayPort compression, DSC, all technical stuff. Two things which were baked into the headset's firmware for use with the PS5 consoles. Now we have a tweet. Is it a tweet? Was it an Exodus? Anyway, Brad Lynch, sadly, it's Bradley, is his Twitter handle if you want to follow. I get lots of notifications on my X, which you can follow as also. It's just at JustVRGaming. You can follow his as well. He's an expert in this stuff. Summarizing of the same thing is basically, based on that change, it looks like the PC support will be directly plugged in and not streamed. Is Sony washing hands? Now, I was kind of confused by this when I read it originally, and then they kind of go into here saying, as Lynch rightly asks, is Sony washing its hands of PSVR2? It might be. And that's kind of the aspect of this, which is kind of what we were talking about, what we were saying, it's going to rely on third party here and just let them get on with it, which might be wise considering the current climate of costs and stuff, but also unfortunate at the same time, because it means almost likely no exclusives from them, including the Astro one people were asking for, and that's probably not going to happen, which is sad, right? But it's still better than it being completely just like, you know, an expensive option for third-party high fidelity stuff. At least you can now use it on your PC as well once it happens, and not have to do anything extra. They might have to still make a PC. Let's read more anyway. Supporting PC through a direct tether and not a console-based streaming solution completely frees PSVR2 from the PlayStation 5 ecosystem, then uses digital console entirely. It admittedly locks users into a fairly lackluster, did I say lackluster? Lackluster game catalog, according to them. But I think they're talking about exclusives here, not general catalog. While this sounds great for consumers in general, it may point to troubled waters for the company's VR strategy moving forward. It makes you wonder, will there be a PlayStation VR 3? It then contrasts, unlike Meta's Quest platform, Sony ostensibly hasn't subsidized even PlayStation VR 2 hardware in an effort to recoup on costs with software sales though, putting the MSRP, that's like retail price, of the $550 headset likely at or above the cost of production. Granted, we haven't seen the hardware cost breakdown, although it's at least clear that from the outset that Sony wasn't beholden to funding the sort of anchor content that it needed in order to convert a significant portion of the 50 million PlayStation 5 owners. It's a lot of owners. Provided Sony is really untangling PlayStation VR 2 from the PS5, the company may even see it as a way to wind down its VR efforts. If instead the company went with a PC VR streaming solution that required PS5, it would only really provide choice to existing PSVR 2 users and not attract new users, from helping it to flush its backlog of unpurchased stock, as we spoke about in another topic in this episode 2 of the Just VR Gaming podcast, available in all your usual places, including obviously YouTube. We likes the YouTube, the Spotify, we likes the Spotify, I guess. We likes the Apple as well. It's on the Apple, and not Apple like as in juice or the food, but like, you know, the Apple thing that, why am I even, it's like a terrible joke. But we like apples, and we like Apple as well. We like all the places that you like to listen to us on. So just do it wherever you like to do it. And you know, if you like the videos and subscribe, make your mother happy. Okay, but yeah, silver lining, I suppose, is that if it gets to working on PC, a lot of you said you would be more interested in considering buying it, even without exclusives. Let's just check out some comments. So we have here, is that Adra? Adra is a diva, apparently. Sony should have created a wireless link instead of tethering. Meta and Steam links work great for my Quest 3. Another one agreeing here. At that price, I agree they should have. This is a bigger comment. I don't know if I want to read all that. It's a lot. It's I don't want to stretch the video just for the sake of stretching the video, but it's like four dislikes. So maybe we just go to ones that are heavily liked and be like time saving here. That's a big comment as well. Too long. What's this one? Let's see what this is. An interesting thought experiment. This is Nevets. GTA 6 were released as a VR only title, and ignoring the resultant fury, what difference would this make to the mid-term future of VR? That's really playing Angel's Advocate right there. I mean, if you put, I can't even get past the idea of how outraged people would be if GTA 6 was a VR exclusive. But the more that studios like a Rockstar get into something like a VR, which I think they've only ever done with LA Noire, at least as a publishing arm, which I think is higher rated on the PlayStation VR 1 instantly rather than it is on the PC, because the controls are all messed up. But that would be, anything like that gets more people. Like, people have already said that if you got Resident Evil 4 VR onto like a PC, people will buy a PlayStation VR 2, because that's what you call a system seller. It's a system killer. Well, not a system killer, but a system killer as in like a seller, positive, like goal killer, you know, like that kind of killer. Like, it's that kind of system seller. That's why sometimes exclusives can matter. But like I said already, at that cost, paying $1,000 right away for one game can be pushing it. It's interesting. It's an interesting question, I suppose, if you're playing Angel's Advocate with it. Another one here is this whole Gothic villas, type of villas I would like to stay at. Hopefully eye tracking works on PC too. I'm sad to see PSVR2 in troubled waters, as are we, I'd say, right? I was super hyped for its launch. For VR to succeed, 90% of the games should be playable, either flat or VR. Same games. Not some watered down Horizon clone, but full game, same as flat. I agree with this in the sense of that is what we do need more of. We need full games. Full like games like Resident Evil, full games like the Asgard Wraths. We want full games. We don't want watered down versions. Even like something like Fallout 4 VR with all the missing stuff. You have to mod it to make it like actually the full game. So people just want the games to be normal but VR, not special, not game but with VR in the title, just normal. Give us a normal game, a full game experience that we can be enveloped in, and the hardware over time will take care of itself, because obviously we are going to get to a point where it's glasses. I mean, some dude put something in his brain which is scary, neuro control of I can't remember what game it was, but that was creepy, you know. So we obviously will have the glasses soon, in a couple of years. So that part will solve itself. But the games side of it, I wanted to see more from GDC as well in terms of Unreal Engine. Didn't really see much announcements as far as from their side, in terms of the VR side of it. But the easier that it is to just press a button somewhat almost in your games and they're VR ready, the more we will have a situation where it's just a case of as easy as turning VR on and off, like HDR or something on and off, and you're in VR mode rather than it being a heavily specific made thing, which I think could go a long way. And then another one here, Gabe Zuckerwell. There's no play on Zuckerberg, is it? For competition's sake, I hope it won't work with Steam VR. We need more storefronts, not bigger Valve monopoly. That one's got 6 downvotes and 2 ups. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really. I mean, Steam's pretty open with their VR in the first place. I think if it doesn't work with Steam, that would kill a lot of it. I think it needs to work with Steam VR. I'm going to be honest with you. It needs to work as an open Steam VR PC thing. It can't work as well if it's locked off of Steam. That's going to kill off loads and loads and loads of games from working on it. So this person said, I think that person's drank too much here. And I think they're kind of right. That's, I don't know if I agree with that. That's kind of the most interesting of the comments there. So what's you guys' thoughts? What do you think? Again, kind of touching a similar topic about the lack of, or them Sony stopping production allegedly of the PlayStation VR 2 because they got too much stock. What would make you buy one again? Vote in the vote thingy in the community post. I'll link to it in the pinned comment if I remember. Remind me if I haven't. What would make you buy a PlayStation VR 2 if you haven't already got one? If you already have a PlayStation VR 2, what do you think needs to be done to change this tide of negative news coming non-stop? Is this another PlayStation Vita situation? Is this another situation where Sony has great hardware, great tech, but nobody or not enough people are utilizing it for it to be successful because the cost is just too damn high, among other things? I don't know if Lily's got much to add to this. We kind of talked about it already in the previous topic, but I guess I'll ask her in the way it's framed. Lily, do we take this firmware update of the PlayStation VR 2 as a statement of Sony washing their hands of VR? Are we not going to see a PlayStation VR 3 at this rate, or is this hyperbole from the media? Is hyperbole even a word? What do you think, Lily?
It's definitely an interesting turn, isn't it? Saying Sony is washing their hands of VR might be a bit dramatic, though. It feels more like they're adapting to the market. By updating the firmware to make PSVR 2 compatible with PC, they could be broadening their audience and staying flexible in a pretty competitive space. It's like opening up the playground so more kids can play, right? It's not necessarily a step back from VR. It could be a strategic pivot. It's about keeping options open for the PSVR 2 to thrive, even outside the PS5 ecosystem. I'd say let's watch and see how it unfolds. the VR landscape is always full of surprises.
There you go. That's what she thinks. Interesting.